Jimbo Fisher deserves a lot of credit for the way things have stabilized over the past couple of weeks. And it's just this season is on a dramatically different turn now. I mean, to be honest with you, South Carolina is not terribly different from Colorado. I think those two programs are probably in a similar spot right now, with coaches that are trying to build with a young team. Don't have a lot going on the line of scrimmage, and you just saw the strides that A&M was able to take against a lesser opponent, and not struggle the way A&M did in that sort of game. Just in so many fronts on the offensive line, they played better in this game. They controlled the line of scrimmage. Obviously, it was a forgettable outing that they had against Colorado. And Zach Calzada, I mean, he made the one mistake, but when you look at the way he played, I do think he's taking strides. And they need him to continue taking strides. But you're seeing him continue to push the ball down the field now. Again, I think his stat line possibly could have looked a little better. Damon Demas had a ball go through his hands that probably should have been caught. And if you look at that, I mean, then he's sitting. The stat line starts to look a little different. But I think he's making the plays he needs to make. He makes you can't have that turnover on the opening drive. That ball's got to be placed better in a better spot, and somewhere where it was kind of thrown inside and needed to be more towards the outside where Anais Smith was. But aside from that, I mean, I thought he managed the game pretty well. Thought he started to find his rhythm, spread the ball around with 6 different guys catching passes for 187 yards. And if he had played the fourth quarter, stat line would have looked better. So I think he's continuing to take strides. And you have to remember, this is only – this is a young quarterback that's not a young quarterback. He's had experience in the program, but young in terms of actually playing and getting out there and having experience. And so I think he's continuing to learn. He's continuing to grow. And this bye week will certainly be an opportunity for him to take stock of where this season is and where he can grow, and a chance to hit the practice field. And so I think when you look at it, A&M's in a really good spot heading into the last couple of games in the year. Huge challenge. They're going to have to come out and play well against Auburn. Consistency is probably the biggest thing that'll frustrate Jimbo Fisher coming out of these past couple of weeks. Is A&M, they took their foot off the gas pedal in the fourth quarter, but just in terms of consistency on offense in this game, defense, I don't think there's much you can complain about in this one. Again, A&M holds South Carolina to 15 points or 15 yards through 3 quarters, and then obviously the backups played the fourth quarter and could have played a little better. But at one point, there was kind of the question of, is South Carolina going to end up with more yards than A&M has points? And it was a fair question the way things were going and just the pressure that they were generating. Another really, really good night, I thought, from Michael Clemens. The linebackers, I think you're seeing the impact that Adrian Cooper can make. The more he plays, and his speed and athleticism really adds a lot to this defense on the back. And then on the back end, another great night for Antonio Johnson. Almost business as usual at this point. He finishes with 1.5 tackles for a loss. Had 4 tackles overall. Just a really, really solid player. And hearing Jimbo Fisher talk earlier this week about just all the things that he can do on the defense as a sophomore, just super impressive.